Hey guys, today we're going to use the Aristocrat. This is an undated, doesn't have a date code underneath the base plate. I can't remember if that puts it around 47 to 48, something like that. That could be about right. US Aristocrat. Inside it, we're going to put the same blade I used yesterday on the President that I tried out. President and Aristocrat look so similar. I'm curious as to whether I'm going to be able to find a difference in the feel. I did read how they did fiddle with some of the blade angles and things with the early 50s versions of the President, and so it's possible that it could be a very different feel. This will be my second use with this Shavemac 3-band. Of course, it's a bulb knot. Here is the Shavemac at the fan knot. So you can kind of see a little bit of the difference. Now this is a known shedder from the guy I bought it from, and so he gave me a great discount because it's still got plenty of life in it, because it's quite dense, and it will definitely give the user a good idea about what a Shavemac feels like. And this one feels quite moppy. It just kind of will lay over and stay that way. And I'm gonna use it a bunch of times, and we'll see if I like that or if I don't like that. Most of the other brushes, like that 2-band Badger I just showed you with the fan knot, it has more backbone than this. And so it just snaps back when you let it go. And sometimes that's what people want. I've had this soaking for several minutes. The soap we're going to use today is chypre, or chypre. Declaration Grooming is run by Scott Stewart, and he was working on, created this scent, and according to a recent AMA, which stands for Ask Me Anything, on Reddit, he said that it was one that he really put a lot of himself into and thought it was really well developed, and then it just didn't sell very well. Now I like tea scents. Thé Noir et Vanille is a Noble Otter tea scent that's really good. 42 from Barrister and Man is another tea scent. There's something by Chiseled Face that's another tea scent. Maybe, is it Easy Street? I can't remember. And there are lots of different tea scents out there, and so it is an established genre. The chypre itself, in general, as a general note concept, is a certain top, middle, and bottom. The top note is a citrus note. The middle note is generally labdanum. I don't know what that smells like, but I often like soaps that have it in there. The base is then often a mossy or animalistic type note, often with oakmoss as the base note. And then of course you can add stuff in there to go and accent different things. You can take it a little bit farther away than those things might normally put you, and so then it's a chypre that has some deviation to it, but that's the general chypre idea. And it is it's definitely a scent that it should be around for a nice long time, not chypre itself, but the chypre genre, because it's so flexible with what you can do with it, and it's a well-designed type idea. I've definitely tried my share of chypres. Barrister and Man has put out a couple, like La Petite Chypre, and then I think there was a La Grande, so that's what chypres are. Well, Declaration Grooming, Scott decided to work on a chypre himself, and he said it started to just change and evolve a little bit with the mossy notes. He went with oakmoss and treemoss, and that's pretty standard. For the warmth, it started to have, he put some cardamom and galbanum, and perhaps he didn't really use any labdanum for the middle notes, but maybe that's where the cardamom, the galbanum are coming in, perhaps. And there actually may be some labdanum in there, but it just wasn't on this particular highlight blurb I had found. And I tell you, I have several scents that I like that have cardamom in it. And so I'm guessing that's a scent I like, even though I don't really know how to identify it. He added a bit of sweetness to it with some yuzu. It's a kind of an orange type scent that can be kind of sticky sweet if used in too high of a dose. And I could smell that from the soap, and I think it adds a nice brightness to it. He wanted some woodsy stuff to be there as well, and then a hint of spice. Now maybe the labdanum is in there in the woodsy or hint of spice, perhaps. So that was just kind of what it turned out to be. He was really proud of it, thought it was going to be really embraced, and it just wasn't for some reason. And he was thinking that this just had a little bit of something for everybody. And since I do like tea scents, it is discontinued, I think. I don't think he's going to bring it back, unless all of a sudden there's going to be public outcry that says, hey, we're sorry, we missed this. We'd love to buy some. Who knows? This is in the Icarus base. It's not in the most current milk steak base, but I think I like, so far, Icarus better than milk steak. All right, so we're going to chypre. Put the lid over here. It is a brown soap. And I do like the scent. You can tell that yuzu is easily perceived. Mossiness, woodsiness, a little bit of spice. And I bet more is going to come out as we work with it. Before I get my hands wet, I'm going to load up you can tell what year range this is by the fact that this is not a notched center bar. If it has these little flarings, these bent T-shaped things on each end of the center bar, then it's not a notched bar. And then I think that's what tells you that it doesn't go any further than maybe 48 or 49 or something like that. But it could be as early as 1947. But it's been a while since I looked at that data. I could be getting their years wrong, but the concept is there. Because of the center bar here that's not notched, it does narrow down the gap to, I think, just a few years. All right, so let's take this Nacet. Yesterday's shave with the President was a joy. It was with this blade. The President, there was a little bit of blade feel, but it was consistent. It was firm. You could tell it was anchored in the razor in the President properly, and it didn't really sing too much. Not a lot of audio to let you know that it's vibrating across your skin, possibly generating a little bit of irritation. I got no irritation at all yesterday, and a very close shave too. So let's see what this guy does. I haven't shaved with him too many times. This Aristocrat, it's one of the first vintages that cost more than $10 that I ever got, I think. And I just haven't used it too much. All right, so some water on the face. Now with Icarus, just for grins, I'll go ahead and do a 40-second load. It'll probably be too much lather, but that's okay. Rather err on the side of excess. So this knot does hold some water. So let's take a little bit of that out until we're just kind of lightly wet. I think this is a Love Your Shave handle. Not my preference of color, but I just wanted to try the knot out. And I did find that I like the shape okay. These two beaded rings, because they're not too pronounced. Let me raise my thumb back here. See, they don't jump out too much, and so they're actually helpful in grabbing it, but not bumpy enough to where they are uncomfortable. All right, 40 rolled around right there, so let's just get going there, and we'll go to 20 seconds on the next minute. And I like to say that, and you probably don't care, but if I say it, I can usually replay the audio in my head, and when the time passes, I can remember where I should stop, you know, otherwise I might just totally forget. Just medium pressure, almost letting the weight of the brush do the work. 10 more seconds. A little bit of lather overflow. Not something we need to capture though, so we can just rinse that off. 1 more second, and there we go. And so that is 40 seconds of loading with Icarus. Rinse off the side of the tub here to clean off the threading. If soap builds up in this threading, it makes the cap kind of difficult to take on and off sometimes. So just a quick rinse is what I do. All right, now this is my beaded melamine bowl from the Dollar Tree. It's almost 7 inches in diameter in the top here, but see, it narrows down to where I don't actually have to move my wrist around to move my arm around like I did with that 3D printed bowl, which I still really enjoy. But for a few days, I'm going to try this bowl out and just see how I like it. It's kind of deep, but it opens up toward the top, and so even though it's deep, I'm not getting my fingers super messy with it. And because it's so deep, the lather is not getting crazy out of hand. Have hard water. We're using cool water these days. It's going to get cold tonight. Been kind of unseasonably warm for a few days. Power was off today for 12 hours. We had thunderstorms yesterday. Power went off for about 2 hours. Wasn't too bad. But today, Friday, it went off big time. 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Must have been some remote location where a tree branch, you know, hit the power lines or something. Not a lot of lather is initially kind of showing up here. We put 1 teaspoon into this mix. I will be glad to go into the puck and go for longer if I need to, that's for sure. We'll just see. Icarus is not a big poofy lather like some. Go ahead and put another teaspoon in. So let's see how this brush feels. I don't think it's going to change too much in terms of, I don't think it's all of a sudden going to get more backbone. I'm also curious if it keeps shedding, because first time I used it, I sure did pull out about 20 hairs. But like I said, it's giving me a great way to just try the Shavemac 3-band and see how I like it. Or some miracle could happen and it could decide not to shed anymore. That'd be neat, wouldn't it? So the lather is increasing, but I think at this point I am going to kind of scrape some of the soap off. There's two bristles. I'm going to scrape some of the soap off. Put a little bit of water on it. Let's go for another 20 seconds just for fun. And that's 5, so we'll go to 25. Just to make sure we have enough soap loaded. 10 more seconds. Because this is a soft brush, and so it may need just a little bit more load time. And I don't mind if a soap needs, 20 more seconds of load time. That's fine. That's not a big deal. Some people may like firmer brushes for less load time, but I think if it's more comfortable on my face, I don't mind if it takes an extra 20 seconds to load. But each to his own, right? So now let's let's just see what happens. It's very soft right now. The lather is kind of gluey and very low, but hopefully we've just increased the ratio of soap in the lather. I did put some water in it as well, so it could be I raised it up by both factors, and so then maybe we'll just get extra quantity. So we'll just watch it and play it by ear. If it looks too thin, I can always just go right back to the soap and not add any more water. This white bowl doesn't have any kind of texturing to it, but it has a curved bottom down here, and that's where the brush is making rotations around the edge of that, and every time it hits an edge it flexes with other bristles, and I think that's just as good as having a textured bottom. Take a look at the lather. That is a hydrated lather. I'm just going to mix some more, and if you think that maybe the center of your brush might have some unmixed stuff in it, you know, some soap or something, just press the brush down into the soap, not making it splay all the way, but just kind of shoving some of that lather up into it, and then go around for a little bit, and then press down again to hopefully start to bring that lather out to have it equalize with the other lather. If it's concentrate in the middle, then, you know, hopefully you can help bring that out. All right, so bring it all down again. I'm liking the scent that I'm getting. That's a good elastic stretch right there. Look at that, not holding its own weight. That long thin is most certainly a bristle, and there was one in the bottom, stalagmite, if you will, as well. Let's take a little feel of it. Oh yeah, that feels good. Not super viscous, but still creamy, and leaving behind a very nice buttery layer of slickness. That might just be perfect right there. So very good. Just a little bit more loading than I thought. And I was playing it safe. So what I did, 40 and then another 20, so 60 seconds of loading for this one. And this is a soft brush. Get a brush with more backbone, and then you can lessen that time a little bit. All right, I think we're ready to go. I'm gonna throw some water on my face, and then we can get going. Well, it's 2 a.m. and it's going to get below freezing tonight, and so I believe we are right in that hot spot of frigid temperatures. So I'm going to call up some hot from the hot water heater to kind of bring me to lukewarm. Load up the brush. See how it feels this time. See if it feels like, you know, the kind of tangled strands of a mop, or the sides of the bristles. It actually, you know, felt pretty. I knew it was moppy the first time. I could just see everything falling over. But it really kind of has a good feel. Soft. Not as soft as like a, you know, the Declaration B5 tips or anything, but we'll see. We'll see if I like this type of knot enough to, you know, perhaps try to buy one straight from the Shavemac. I don't really like that these chunks are coming off. Nice creamy feel though, feels really good. But it does kind of feel like I'm shaving with a bird's nest. is some good lather right there. Nice long peaks. That feels terrific. It's not too thin, that's for sure. So it's either perfect or it's on the solid or dry side of perfect. Now let's see if this Aristocrat, see how he feels compared to yesterday's President. Definitely a little more aggressive. It doesn't feel like the blade is anchored quite as well. I think I'm getting more audio. I think I'm getting that oak moss, the mossy smell now. Second pass, I'll have to really pay attention to the scent. The strength is nice. It's definitely giving my nose a good taste of the scent. I'm not trying to chase it around, trying to find it. I don't believe it's too strong. This one might be a really good scent for me. It's not punchy. It's not zesty. So a morning shaver who needs a soap to invigorate them a little bit may find this one a little lacking, but I'm a night shaver. It's almost relaxing. It's almost like having a cup of chai tea at the end of the day. Spices, a little bit of sweetness, some savoriness. This might be a really good night shaving soap, an easy-going soap. A little spicy. It's not fully easygoing. It's got some substance to it. Sometimes it's nice to know when the creator spends so much of themselves on a scent so that as the user, we can kind of do the same and test it out and try it and reconsider it and try it again a few days later. Definitely had some soaps be that way, being right on the wall, but then I get used to them somehow, appreciate them in a different way, and then when I come back at them 2 weeks later, I'm like, wow, where did this guy go? Because I really like this. I can't really give you a good recipe for this lather because when I dipped back into the tub for a 20-second load, I ran the brush under a little bit of water from the sink, and so I did introduce a little bit more water into the formula than I measured with the syringe. But let's just say it was half a teaspoon, and if that's the case, then it's just 2.5 teaspoons of water with a minute of loading on this brush. Well, like I said earlier, this brush is different. It is very soft. You don't really feel the tips quite as much because they have it's definitely floppy, but because the tips just have a tendency to fold over, so you don't feel the tips in the same way. But it still ends up to be an enjoyably soft brush. And in fact, as you're doing, it almost helps me to lighten up a little bit on the swirls and just kind of let the tips do their thing, and it gets softer that way. All right, so second pass now, cross grain. I believe I'm going to get a good shave with this razor, but it's not as smooth as the President. Now, for a better test, I should have used the same soap and brush. But this will be just a casual comparison. Definitely I'm getting more audio from this one. It's a good razor. Definitely recommend it. I love the look. And the Aristocrat is the President. Most of the Presidents have it knurled right here instead of this kind of smooth and slightly scalloped look. And same thing up here. Smoother here. And the President, it's knurled right there. Of course, President is also silver in color because a lot of it is rhodium plated with brass underneath, just like this one, brass underneath. And then the plating on the doors and stuff is nickel. And it's a nice high polish. It was a quality plating is what has been said. And so that's just, it is really a joy to use. It does feel more refined. Face is feeling good, no irritation at all. So that's nice. Every once in a while when a blade feels just a little bit more rough, a little bit more edgy, blade feely, a little bit more exposed out. You've got the top cap, the base plate. Maybe the blade is sticking out just a little bit more, but it's still being held tightly enough to where you feel like you're in good control. That's kind of how it feels today. And sometimes when it feels that kind of rough, you get to the end of the shave and you are surprised by how close the shave was. And so it's a trade-off. You don't quite get the comfort, the ultimate comfort that some other razors will give you, but you get that awesome close shave. This is my trouble spot right here. So that's my litmus test. My cheeks always get shaved really well no matter what. This side of my neck is pretty uniform because the grain goes down and then starts to go across my neck that way. So this side of my neck always gets shaved well as also. And let's lay down the third pass. I could easily walk away having a good shave from this. Now let's remember, yeah, see, I can smell the lather coming up to my nose. Let's see if I smell all the different parts. The yuzu is still in play, but it's not being sticky sweet. It's just adding some sweetness and some body to it. It's not candy-like or anything like that. The mossiness is there. Man, that's such a good scent. It's underrated. It's kind of subdued. But man, it adds a nice, just a balanced earthiness to it. Cardamom and galbanum. Like I said, I'm glad he pointed out that that's a warmth type of scent because I don't really know what those smell like. And this does have kind of a warm scent. So I could, because of that yuzu, that helps it to be an all-season scent for me. Because it sweetens it up just a hair. But with the warmth, it especially lends itself to fall and winter. To me. Did I just do third pass? I think I did. No, I'm about to do the third pass. That's what it is. Okay. Woodsy. Not quite as woodsy. And yeah, definitely a little bit of spice. The yuzu is one of the dominant scents. Yuzu and the warmth and the moss. Those are all very dominant. I don't think I've lost as many bristles with this shave. You know, I wonder if perhaps there's some kind of injury that was done to the knot, some kind of breakage. And so maybe, 200 hairs are going to fall out, then it's going to quit. It's probably wishful thinking, but the water that was on my face had a chance to kind of evaporate, and so this lather is a little thicker than what was before. Well, that was 60 seconds of loading, and This was a soft brush, and so I've probably got other brushes where that equates more to 30 or 40 seconds of loading, and sometimes that gets me about this much lather. I could do a pass out of that, probably 2 passes out of this. So that's 6 passes of lather. A little bit extra, like I said, but I did play it safe, just to make sure I didn't end up chasing it too hard during the shave. It's so easy to mix up in the beginning instead of adding water during the shave and getting all messy and stuff. With these warm, sometimes the scents that have some warmth to them will also cause reactions with some people. Redness on your face. Now I am feeling a little bit of that, but I don't know if that's because of the blade, you know, exposure with the razor. So we'll just have to see. We'll watch that. So this is not a super smooth razor, but a lot of people don't like the super smooth razors. And so maybe this is a good razor. They're fairly easy to come by. They're not super rare. And so if you want a vintage that just has a neat look to it, I like the heft of it. I like the balance. The knurling is attractive to me, but also very functional. It works really well. Gives you nice grip, but not a bothersome grip that bothers your skin, you know. Some types of knurling are quite aggressive. Let's rinse. I could see taking this soap on a woodland retreat. Sometimes when you're in the woods, maybe you've rented a cabin, maybe you own a cabin, you know, up in the northern U.S. that you visit every summer, or just one at a lake anywhere. And it's, you know, a little bit on the brisk side in terms of the weather. I could see this at the end of the day being a really nice way to wind down. You could go with some more distinctively woody and foresty type scents with, you know, oak trees or some of those other scents that have more of a focus on the wood. But this is more on the warmth and spiciness, just a touch of the sweetness. The sweetness does back off a little bit in lather form. You can smell it a little stronger in the dry puck form. The strength pretty much stays the same. I was both from the puck as well as in the lather form. It was just kind of right middle of the road. It wasn't too obnoxious, but it wasn't too weak. It was always there for my nose to enjoy. I could definitely see it, you know, at a time when you just want to kind of take things easy. Maybe you're on vacation, relaxing, smooth, but it's got interest, you know, to it, almost like a good dessert. But here's the thing, it's like a good dessert when accompanied also by a tea or a good coffee. It doesn't have a coffee scent, but it's that type of feeling, how you like a dessert that just makes you feel good, and there's a touch of sweetness to it. But then you go, I don't know if you guys do it, but you go back and forth between a little sip of coffee and a little bit of the dessert, a little sip of coffee, and it's this really neat interplay between the bitter of the coffee and here just the tea notes that are there, and the savory ingredients plus the sweetness. It's a really nice way these things all play together, and I would really like it as an end of the day scent. Great way to wind down. Man, I hate that I found another scent that I like. There are so many good scents out there these days. Man. Well, I've tried to explain it to you as best I can. Sometimes using pictures, sometimes using thoughts, and of course I read you the technical kind of description and stuff. But and so it's unfortunately it's discontinued, but it's still in the used market occasionally. So if this is something that interests you, I highly like the Icarus base. And so I know now that I also like the scent a lot. And so if you, from my descriptions, read up on them on the web, it is listed in trythatsoap.com. So you'll be able to see the scent notes there. And so you then, on the used market, you might be able to find some. So yeah, 3 extra passes of lather, probably 2.5 teaspoons of water from 60 seconds of loading with this particular brush. Pretty good. I'll tell you what, I can see why Scott was so proud of this scent. And I'm sorry it didn't work out. But I can kind of feel the balance that he played with, the different notes, the sweetness. He had to bring it in enough to where it balanced out all the other flatter notes and the almost like gray notes, if you will. But if you bring it in too much, then it totally overwhelms that other stuff. So I think his care with that was perfect. The mossiness was at a nice level as well, and all those spices were just perfect because they contributed exactly how much they should have. Too much spice, it would have been too thick in terms of scent. It would have been too powerful, too dense in terms of the potency of the scent, and it was just at a perfect level. I could maybe see the woodsy being brought up a little bit more, but no big deal, whatever. Really nice, well put together scent from Scott. So nice job, man. You'll probably never see this, but nice job. All right, well, I'm going to clean up. Face feels great. I'm not really smelling a lot of it residually here. Could be that I've kind of gotten used to it. I'm nose blind to it now, but it's an easygoing scent. So it's also possible as I move around, I could catch more whiffs of it. Let me tell you something it reminds me of that's also been classified as warm and spicy is Prix de Provence number 63. And I'm a huge fan of that scent as well. Love that scent too. And I think these guys could work together. And so I do have a balm that is the Prix de Provence 63 that I think maybe next time I use this chypre, I might try that out. Right now, I think, I might just put witch hazel on, unscented, just to kind of see if I keep enjoying this scent. I mean, I know I'm going to enjoy it, but if it sticks around in strength long enough for a little while, I want to be able to enjoy it. Now, I don't do this often. I used to do witch hazel all the time. Instead of having it in a bottle and pouring it into my hand and letting it drip through my fingers, I spray it across my hand so that it is light and distributed more evenly. And there we go. There we go. This is the Thayer's Witch Hazel Aloe Solution, unscented, alcohol-free. And we know that it doesn't have a whole lot of witch hazel in it. It's got some, probably mostly aloe extract and aloe type liquid. Well, there we go. That's a shave in the books. After a day without power, man, I thought I would be shaving by candlelight or something like that. Hope there was something here that has helped you out. I thoroughly enjoyed experiencing the Icarus. I think I dialed it in pretty much perfectly. It was slick and rich and creamy and still really wet. The rinses just felt great. I've got no irritation at all. There wasn't anything to fix with the witch hazel solution, in terms of something I felt. That slight bit of irritation that I felt earlier is gone, and so I'm guessing that was just maybe the blade with it. This particular razor with this blade is not quite as good as the President. That's what I'm going to guess I'm going to attribute it to. Enjoyed the Shavemac again. Yeah, it's floppy. It's, but I could definitely see using that if I had it, because it's soft and it feels good on the face. If you really want to get in there and scrub, then you can, and the tips will just kind of fold over, and the sides of the bristles will give you a nice scrub feeling. Or if you back off a little bit, the tips will just kind of be soft on your face. So it's almost like a multifaceted brush with kind of different personalities there. But I sure enjoyed it, and I'm really liking the chypre smell. So there we go. Sure hope there was something on here for you. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care. Good night.